Hey, what's going on, guys? I want to talk to you just on a total free flow today. I haven't put any thought into this, but I know what I want to talk about. And what I want to talk about is mastering your mind. You ever feel like there's a war going on in your head between you and that voice? For me, it got totally out of control for a while to where the voice, I'm like, who's in control here, me or the voice? You know, is it me or the skeptic? There was a lot of negative talk going on in my head all the time. And it got to a point where I couldn't get away from it, and I got to a point where I totally felt depressed, and I never thought I would feel like that before. I'm a pretty positive guy, right? What I found was that my lifestyle, what I did on a daily basis, is exactly what got me to that point. I went through this whole period. I moved to Maui. I lived there for 4 years, and I thought, hey, I want freedom. I want independence. I don't want to have a schedule. I want to just go with the flow, do what I feel like doing, be an adult. And what I found was that just led to chaos in my life. Well, I got away from, my faith in spirituality, and I got into all kinds of stuff. And I became so unhappy, and I started to lose the war within my mind. What I found was that discipline equals freedom. I could not follow through on anything, you guys. I found that I was lacking a lot of discipline. Discipline is a muscle. I just had a very weak discipline muscle. Like my mind is a muscle as well. And it was untrained. What I found was that the way to train your mind is to do things that are outside your comfort zone, to try hard things. So I started taking cold showers. I said, you know what, I'm going to take cold showers Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, which is a great way to build a habit. Do something that's consistent but not overwhelming. And the last 30 seconds of every shower, I will go full blast cold. It's so hard for me, even to this day. I've been doing it over a year now. I have not missed a week except for one when I got the flu. And I think it may even have been what's going around right now. Side topic. Cold showers. I started planning my day. I have a planner now. Right here. You know what else is important is having daily habits. So now I have 4 habits a day outside of cold showers that I have a grading system. I have to grade myself on. So if I don't get my habits, then my score goes down. Okay? Habit number 1, read 10 pages of a good book a day. If you're not growing, you've heard it before, you're dying. It's so true. Think about when you get out of high school, 10 years. I've been out of high school for 10 years. That's a good amount of time. Things go like this. They flatline for a while. This is how habits work. They flatline, and then eventually they build momentum. Now, is it going to build positive momentum or negative momentum? If it builds positive momentum, it's going to work like compound interest, and it's going to shoot up. Okay? Negative momentum is going to look about the same for a long time. You know, this could be years. It looks the same as the guy doing the positive things. All of a sudden, you hit a tipping point. Compound interest kicks in, and then boom. You know, are you working out 3 to 5 days a week? Or are you sitting in a desk, 5 days a week, not doing any stretching or anything? You're going to go, right? Are you eating a salad every day, or are you eating a cheeseburger every day? You can't hide from time. Time is the ultimate equalizer. Time will either promote you or expose you. That's where your habits come in. Guys, you're going to end up somewhere. The question is where. If you're just drifting along, you're not going to be happy with where you end up in 5 to 10 years. I promise you that. So the best way to be happy with where you end up is to design the path. This is what I do. I read 10 pages a day. I listen to audio personal development audio. I love fitness and health. I listen to a lot of things in that realm. Also building your mindset, mental toughness. At least 10 to 15 minutes. That's it. I say minimum 10 minutes, so it sounds easy. I always end up doing 30, 40 minutes when I'm getting ready in the mornings for my day. Meditate for 15 minutes. This is where you train that mind muscle that I was talking about before. This is where you're like doing reps for your mind. If you have so much negative self-talk, by actually meditating, what you're doing is you're like doing bicep curls for your brain. It helps me stay present. It helps me stay way more focused. Helps me just be less reactive. I notice when I'm meditating consistently, things don't bother me as much. I'm more level. I love it. And another one, here's a big thing, guys. Bed by 10 o'clock and really by 9:45. That's my goal. Bed by 9:45 to 10 o'clock. It took me years to find out that I can do all the affirmations and the positive thinking. I can do all these things in the cold showers. I can eat healthy. But you know what, guys? At the end of the day, the biggest thing that's going to have an impact on your energy levels and your mindfulness is going to be getting enough sleep. It is hands down the biggest thing. There's something called the Pareto Principle or the 80-20 rule. What it says is that this formula 80-20 shows up in many different areas of life. And I'm going to explain in such a way that look, let's see here. If you were to look at wealth, 20% of the population makes 80% of the income. If you look in a sales organization, typically around 20% of the sales team generates about 80% of overall revenue. Conversely, in your own life, 80% of the success that you see is coming from probably 20% of what you're actually doing. And so it goes to show the 80-20 rule is that 80% of what you do is not that important, but 20% are the big hitters. So this one thing is a great book. I highly recommend it. Great foundational book. It's helped me a lot. It teaches you to find what is, if you have 10, 2 of those things are going to be your big hitter items. They're going to make the biggest impact. So focus on the 2 things. This is the extreme Pareto principle. Now you're taking, so if you have one, now you're taking one of those 2 things, the more important one, and then just focus on that full time, constantly. And you can have a different one thing in different areas of life. Your relationship, your business, your gym, and that's what I started doing. So my daily habits are simply, what are my one things in each category? So I have bed by 10, that supports all categories because it keeps my energy high. 15 minutes meditation, that also supports all categories because it helps me stay more mindful. And fitness audio, personal development, you gotta grow. You guys, if you stop growing, I promise you're gonna get bitter and you'll start to become resentful of your life because it's not what you thought it would be, and your dreams will start to dry up. And it's the worst feeling ever, I know, because I've been through that. It's no fun at all. So the way I grade these is with accountability. So I can get a maximum of 7 times 4, 28. Okay, I get a maximum of 28 different points per week, which is 4 a day. And then I grade myself. If I get 20, then I grade out of 28. And so what I do is I have an accountability partner and a coach. And so what I do is I have an accountability and growth coach, okay? And I pay this coach. It's a success coach. I've been doing this for about a year now. But once a week to once every 2 weeks, I sit down, I go over all my goals that I stated the prior week. I hold myself real strict. He holds me real strict accountable to these goals. We discuss any setbacks that I went through. So guys, just like the gym is going to be a lot easier when you have a partner or a coach of some sort, life is going to be a lot easier when you have an accountability partner and a coach, someone that you can actually set goals with. I highly recommend regular personal development, reading. I went from like no car, no money in my bank account, literally nowhere to stay, and stuck in a relationship that I had no traction, close to 8 years in this relationship, not moving forward, not really moving backward, not sure, is this the one, is this not the one, going through mental, war through my head. And ever since applying these principles on a regular basis, I have an incredible place I'm living now. We bought a second car. It's a sports car, and I love it. It's so much fun. It's an Infiniti G37 right now, and it's amazing. It's a stick shift. It's 4-door. I love it. And we're married. We have a beautiful baby, and my life is like so rich and so full, and I can't tell you enough. It's amazing. And it all started with being growth oriented. That's the thing. And you got to do hard things. You guys, you have to do hard things. Here's the thing. Oftentimes, especially after high school, people stop doing hard things, and they also stop doing new things. So if you can get yourself to get out, do new things, do hard things, it's going to give you a sense of freshness in your life, and it's going to help you grow. It's really important. So do new things. Go sign up for something. I signed up for a half marathon that came up. It was coming up, and I thought, you know what? I know I can do this half marathon. I didn't have much training at all. I'd only trained for, 2-3 weeks, something like that. But I knew I'm a pretty fit guy. I'll be able to get through this half marathon without much issue. So what I did was several days beforehand, I said, how can I make this more challenging? How can I make it harder? I've never ran more than a half marathon. So this is what I'll do. What if I run a half marathon the day before the half marathon? So that way, by the time I get to that marathon, I'm going to already feel broken. Then I'll have to rely on my mind. Then I can see what kind of man I am. What'll happen when I push myself into a corner? Can I rise to the occasion? That's something you need to know as a man. A man needs to know deep down in his heart, he can do whatever it takes to rise to the occasion. And guys, if you're just living a soft, comfortable life and you never get an opportunity to express some of that passion and dig deep, if you don't ever get an opportunity to do that, life is going to feel empty and dull. So I had this brilliant idea, and the second I thought of it, I started feeling sick to my stomach because I'm like, oh my gosh, that would really, can I even do that? Is that even possible for me? That's when you know you are on the right track. Because I got that feeling, and I said, you know what? I'm going to go for it. Screw it. I'm just going to do it. I woke up that morning. I didn't know what was going to happen. I was like, just throw the running shoes on. And I just started running. I didn't know where I was going to go. I just started running with the GPS on, and I just ran until I hit, exactly half of 13.1. I turned around and came back. So then the next day, I was literally limping down the stairs. Everything was just hurting and swollen, and my body was just exhausted because I don't do much cardio. I showed up to the race, and I said, this is exactly where I want to be. Now it's going to be this that's going to get me through. You guys, I had the most incredible race of my life. I ran that race under 2 hours. I ran it about 40 minutes faster than the race the day before that I did on my own. It was just the most incredible experience, almost one of the top experiences of my life. You guys, there were so many points where I had to dig deep. I knew I had to keep a solid pace, and I was racing one of the family members as well that kind of called me out, and I had to pick up I was trotting real slow in the beginning because I thought, hey, this is perfectly acceptable. I ended up picking up my pace, and I thought, oh my gosh, I don't think I could keep this pace for that long. But I said, you know what? Just keep carrying the pace. Go for another quarter mile at this pace, and then go for another quarter mile at this pace. And then all of a sudden I would go 2 miles, and then I would go another mile. And I'm like, how is this possible? I would start breaking down in tears because I'm saying to myself, this isn't possible. How am I doing this? And every tear that I shed was like a weight getting lifted off of me. And I was able to just continue. And then I would hit another wall. I was like, how can I keep going? I would consider quitting. And then I would just freaking cry. And I would keep going. So I just knew deep down I had to do this. And I would break into a new level. And I would feel more weight lifted off me, and I would just feel so joyous. So that was another hard thing that I did. It's important to challenge yourself, guys. Here's another hard thing that I did. I wanted to see what is the capacity of my body. How many work days in a row can I go? I need to know what my limits are. As a man, I don't know what my limits are. That doesn't feel acceptable to me. So I did an experiment, which a lot of people said, hey, what are you doing? That's so unhealthy. That's not good work-life balance. I said, look, I totally understand. I'm not doing this for work-life balance. I'm doing this as an experiment to see what my capabilities are. So I said, I'm going to see how many days in a row I can work. That's 2 jobs, right? I have a mentally demanding job. I work in real estate sales. I'm making phone calls all day. I have to be sharp on the phone or else people will just hang up on me. Okay? And it's very mentally demanding. It's very energy draining, right? And the second thing I did was I'd work and valet and park cars. And I would do that, 1 day a week for cash, for side cash. And so what I did was I said, hey, manager, I need you to, at the valet job, manager, I need you to fill me in each day of the weekend. I want to work straight through. I ended up working 4 weeks in a row straight before taking my first day off. And guys, it was so tough. I was like getting hangry all the time. But it was like sleep deprived and just tired, frustrated. I'm like, why am I even doing this? Most of the time I was questioning it. But you guys, I broke into a new level, and I mentally leveled up. And I said, you know what? I can commit to something and I can follow through. If you haven't committed to something and followed through it in a long time, it's going to just totally degrade your character. You're going to just level down in life. So it's so important to commit to something and follow through. One of the most important things on this planet to me is, outside of my family is right up there with my spirituality. But you guys, my word is so important to me. It is a bond. And I highly recommend you guys, if you ever say you're going to do something, freaking do it, no matter what. Okay? I don't care if you said something and all of a sudden, like the next day, you're like, oh, that was stupid. Given it's not something totally idiotic, like trying some hard drug or something like that, or doing something you don't morally align with. But if you give a commitment to someone, you gotta freaking do it. I don't care if you're feeling it, if it's convenient or not. Follow through on your words. If you say you're gonna work out 3 days a week, freaking do it. Follow through. Or if you don't let someone else down, you're gonna let your own self down, and you cannot hide from yourself. You're gonna know if you are in alignment with your words or not. If your actions are not in alignment with your words, you're gonna level down on the totem pole. You're gonna get to that losing state of the war in your mind. You're not gonna be winning. I promise you that. gotta follow through on your words, guys. This has helped me immensely. When I say something, I follow through, I do it. Even if I'm not feeling it, even if I loosely said it, even if I said it when I was like tired or up late, or if I was drinking or something, if I committed to something, you guys, I made so many commitments on New Year's Eve with everybody that was drinking, and we're all having a good time, and like, hey, yeah, everybody's feeling this like, man, I'm gonna change my life this year, yeah, and I'm like, really? All right, great, Literally the night of New Year's, based on the conversations I was having, I said, I'm feeling I want to start this diet, the Whole30 diet. What's that? They'd ask me, and I'd tell them about it, and they're like, man, that sounds great. Let me do it with you. I'm in. Let's start a group. Based on this conversation, I started a freaking Whole30 group. I woke up the next day, I started doing Whole30. Here's another hard thing I'm doing. I went a month and a half on Whole30. Month one is going great. Why would I stop now? Out of convenience, maybe. Okay, so I'm gonna do another month. I committed to another month. Halfway through, I hit a breaking point. I was on vacation at a conference, and it was about 5 days. I said, if I don't follow through on this diet, I am gonna let myself down, and I'm gonna let myself know that I can half-ass things, and I can not go all in and justify it and be okay with that. If I do it here, it's gonna show up in other areas of life, so I'm gonna guard myself. I'm gonna be freaking committed. I brought an Instant Pot with me to Dallas. I cooked all my meals in my hotel room. No microwave, no huge sink. Like, I'm sitting there scraping eggs. I'm in the tiny little sink in the bathroom. I'm like, what do I do with all this fat that I just made from this pot roast that I cooked for an hour? It's, I'm gonna melt a trash can. But I followed through on my Whole30 diet while I was in Dallas. We went out to dinner, my work team and I. We were out, they had delicious desserts. They had all the kinds of non-Whole30 food. It was incredible. And guys, I was so challenged at that time. I wanted to quit the diet. Forget it. I want to enjoy, just have a good time, drink with you guys. This diet includes no alcohol, so there's tons of wine, and I'm just like, man, this was stupid, doing this diet on vacation. I'm like, you know what? I'm locked in. I made a commitment already. I have to do this. If I quit, I'm gonna become a quitter in my mind. I'm gonna know deep down, no matter how I justify, no matter what I say, I'm gonna know deep down, I freaking quit on myself. And am I okay with that? No, I'm not okay with that. Okay, so I went back to the hotel room. I pulled out this trusty notebook, this planner. I went to the note section, and I wrote down how I was feeling. And I went through this just mental exercise, and I'm like, I'm not okay with how I feel right now. I got pushed to the edge, and I almost broke.